We were discussing circular motion last time, and we discussed uniform circular motion. So today I would like to talk about uh, non-uniform circular motion, and the difference between uniform circular motion and non-uniform circular motion is very small one. It's not big. There is no big difference. Uh, so if you can grasp this difference, then there should be no problems. Problems arise when you forget about the difference. So first, let us be clear about what is uniform circular motion and what is non-uniform circular motion. Okay? So if I have an object moving around a circle, like so, where the speed of the object remains constant, the angular velocity remains constant, that is uniform circular motion. However, if the speed of the particle keeps on changing, keeps on increasing or decreasing or whatever, changing, then we say that we are dealing with non-uniform circular motion. So for non-uniform circular motion, features are omega is not constant, magnitude of velocity is not constant. Okay, very very simple. I mean, यूनिफॉर्म सर्कुलर मोशन में स्पीड कांस्टेंट रहेगा, ओमेगा कांस्टेंट रहेगा. नॉन यूनिफॉर्म सर्कुलर मोशन में ये कांस्टेंट नहीं रहेगा. Just like before, wherever the particle is located at that instant, wherever the particle is located at that instant, that becomes the origin, and you draw the radial axis and you draw the tangential axis and you draw the third axis, and then you simply draw the FBD. Right? So this is a tangential axis, this is the radial axis, and you simply draw the FBD. Once you have found all the components of forces on this FBD, then you say that, look, the summation of forces, the summation of forces along the radial axis is equal to mass into radial acceleration, which is equal to mass into v square by r, which is equal to mass into omega square r. And then you get summation of F tangential, which previously was equal to 0. Now you get m into A tangential, and this A tangential is equal to dv by dt, or it is equal to r alpha. Okay, now please notice that I have written dv, d magnitude of v by dt. A tangential is equal to d magnitude of b by dt, which I can write as d by dt of r omega. Since r is always constant for us, so r comes out and I get d omega by dt, which is equal to r. The summation of forces along the third axis always remains zero. So this is what is different now. This is the different. This is the different object. This is the same as before. This is the same. Of course, this would mean that the magnitude of the centripetal acceleration or the radial acceleration now is not constant anymore. Okay, because this guy is not constant anymore. This guy is not constant anymore. Right? So non-uniform circular motion you can recognize by two things. The first is, of course, the speed is changing and the omega is changing. And the second is that the acceleration magnitude, the centripetal acceleration ka magnitude is always changing. Okay, so if this is the radial force is equal to mass into radial acceleration, tangential force is equal to mass into tangential acceleration. So what I want to do is I just want to show here that if this is the radial acceleration and if this is the tangential acceleration, right, then the vector sum of these two guys will give you the net acceleration, right? So A net is equal to under root of A radial whole square plus A tangential. Okay, right? Chalo. So please take a screenshot. I will change the board now. Please take a screenshot. Okay. So question number one. Let's do questions because इसका जो theory part है that this is it. This is the theory part. This is what is different in this. Everything else remains the same as before. So question number one is that if particle moves on a circular track with radius r from rest, it has angular acceleration alpha. Find its velocity, the acceleration after time t. Chalo, so try this question. कुछ गड़बड़ लग रहा है। सही है, सही है। हाँ सही है, दूसरे का आंसर दो। हाँ सही पकड़ा। हम्म, हाँ, so I think a lot of you have got this right. So basically, we are going to have, let's say that the particle is somewhere here. This will be the radial axis, this will be the tangential axis, and the acceleration at this point must be, sorry, the acceleration is alpha. So if angular acceleration is equal to alpha and initial omega is equal to 0, final angular velocity must be equal to alpha t. Final angular velocity is alpha t. So v at time t must be equal to r into alpha t. So now I want to find acceleration after time t. Acceleration after time t should be, there should be a radial acceleration and there should be a tangential acceleration. So a radial, एक minute, just hold on a minute. हाँ भाई सॉरी। हाँ पहले तो ए रेडियल निकाल लेते हैं। ए रेडियल आएगा मेरा बी स्क्वायर बाय आर या ओमेगा स्क्वायर आर, एंड दैट विल बी अल्फा स्क्वायर टी स्क्वायर आर, ठीक है ना, ओमेगा स्क्वायर आर आएगा, and then A tangential will be equal to it will be equal to alpha r. So the acceleration at time t simply equal to root of alpha square t square r whole square plus alpha r whole square. Right now you can take things common. I think कुछ लोगों ने दिया था. Next question. Okay, next question. Car moves on a horizontal circular track with a rate of change of speed equal to a equal to d by dt. If the car starts from rest and the coefficient of friction is mu, radius of track is r, then find the time at which the car will start slipping. नहीं पाप गलत आंसर. गलत आंसर। गलत आंसर। गलत आंसर। गलत। गलत तरुण। थोड़ा ना कार पहले ही स्लिप हो जाएगी। और कोई nobody else? नहीं आर्यन, गलत। दो मिनट का टाइम और ले लो, बट जो अभी मैंने किया है एग्जाम्पल उसको देखो एक बार। ट्राई टू डू इट यूजिंग दैट एग्जाम्पल। ना, गलत है शौनक। नहीं। हाँ तो लिख रहा हूँ। वेरी नाइस, वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड। नहीं आर्यन, गलत। चलो ठीक है, मैं आई विल this is something which we must learn. So, what do we mean by a car going around a circular track? Yeah, this is actually a very important question, and it deserves a very long discussion, right? So, I will do that discussion now. What do we mean by a car traveling around a horizontal circular track or a person running along a horizontal circular track? What do we mean by slipping? Right? What do we mean by the car will slip? What do we mean by, or if I tell you that a person is running, the person will slip? Well, what happens is that when a car is moving along a road or a person is running along a road, then we are dealing with case one of friction. Case one, if you remember, was when the two surfaces which are in contact with each other, they don't slide, they don't move relative to each other. Now, of course, we may ask, कि अरे ये कैसे हो गया? मूव तो हो रहा है, कार अगर हॉरिजॉन्टल ट्रैक पे चल रही है तो चल ही रही है, मूव कर रही है, एक्सेलरेटेड भी है, गोल गोल घूम रही है. So, see, there is a subtle difference here, and the difference is that for the moment we are dealing with point particles. However, the moment you talk about car and you talk about a person running, you are not talking about point particles anymore. So the interaction of point particles with an object in its surrounding is simple. अगर मैंने एक पॉइंट पार्टिकल को सरफेस पे रखा हुआ है तो उसके ऊपर एक नॉर्मल रिएक्शन लगेगा और एक mg अर्थ की वजह से लगेगा, राइट? The interaction of point particles with the objects in their environment is simple, whereas the interaction of objects like cars and people with the things in their surrounding is complicated. Now, we are not going to deal with the full blown complication. However, we are going to deal with the fact that when I talk about a car moving on a surface, then the tire of the car, despite the fact that the car is moving, the tire of the car is instantaneously at rest with respect to the ground. Now, I know this sounds very non-intuitive. In fact, most of the things that I'm going to speak will sound non-intuitive. However, this is the truth. अगर कार का टायर रोड पे घिस रहा होता तो आपको वहां पे स्ट्रीक मार्क्स मिलते, राइट? वो कार के स्किड मार्क्स आपको मिलते. And normally, when you look at a road, you can't see any skid marks, and that is because when the car or the truck or anything with wheels travels over the road, the contact point between the track and the tire is not slipping, is not moving relative to each other, right? So if the ground is stationary, then the contact point on that tire will also be stationary. However non-intuitive it may sound to you, I will prove this mathematically later on when we study rigid body dynamics. When you walk, it is not as difficult to prove. When you put your right foot on the ground, right, and when you walk, when you move, then your feet with respect to the ground are stationary. The soles of your shoes are stationary on the ground as you are running or as you are walking on the ground. If they were not stationary, if they were moving relative to the ground, then the phenomena would be known as slipping, right? And all of you have experienced this. तो आपने चलते टाइम कहीं पे पैर रखा and the floor is wet and relative motion occurs between your shoes and the floor, and that's it, you fall down, you can't walk anymore, right? Ice is very slippery simply because of the fact that uh, the shoes, the soles of the shoes will not remain stationary with respect to the surface of the ice. So, as a person walks, as a car moves on a road, we are dealing with case one, that is static friction. Now, case one had three scenarios. Three scenarios were: scenario one was that there is no motion at all, there is no acceleration. Scenario two was that there is acceleration. And there was a scenario three as well. Scenario three was that when F applied is zero, you find that when you draw the free body diagram of the object, you find that F applied is zero. When that happens, then you must conclude that if despite the absence of F applied, there is some acceleration of the object, then this acceleration must be caused by friction, right? This is what we had concluded when we were discussing friction. So if I were to draw a horizontal circle, right, I'll try and draw the best as I can here. So if I draw a horizontal circle, and if I were to draw from any point, let's say this point, if I were to draw the axes, right, the three axes, I want to draw all the three axes. Okay, and here is the car, right? The car is here. We are looking at it from the side, elevated view from the side. So can you tell me which axis is which? Right? I don't think that should be very difficult. This would be the radial axis, this would be the tangential axis, and this would be the third axis. Now, we want to talk about the forces which are acting on the car. Right? तो कार के सराउंडिंग में हमको केवल दो चीजें दिखाई दे रही हैं, वो अर्थ है और सरफेस. If you are getting confused with this diagram, right, please don't get confused. This is something like north, this is something like east, and this is up, and this is down, and this is the ground, and this is the ground. North. So since the objects in the surrounding are two, that is the earth and the surface, the forces acting on the car must be mg. Here is mg, it is acting down, and the second force on the car must be this, the normal reaction, n. Now both these forces mg and n are incapable of moving the car circularly. They are incapable of providing the centripetal force. Okay, they are not going to cause the circular motion of the car. So now the question arises then, therefore, what is causing the circular motion of the car? As the free body diagram suggests, as I draw the free body diagram, if you remember the definition of F applied was the net force parallel to the surface in the absence of friction. So if I forget about friction for the moment on the car, then the only two forces that are acting are mg and n, and both these forces are perpendicular to the surface. Therefore, there is no force parallel to the surface. There is no force north, there is no force east, there is no force west, there is no force south in the absence of friction. Therefore, F applied is equal to 0 in this case. And therefore, this is case 1, scenario 3 of friction. case 1, scenario 3 says that we are dealing with an object which is static and whatever acceleration that you see is due to friction. Okay? Please again don't get confused. It is static because the instantaneous velocity of the point of contact is 0, but the body itself is capable of motion, right? I should have, हाँ वही वही मैं समझाने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ, दैट इज व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से, वही मैं समझाने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ. When you walk, तो आपने ये पैर आगे रखा पहले, अब ये पैर और ग्राउंड के बीच में कोई मोशन नहीं हो रहा, लेकिन ये जो बॉडी है, ये जो स्ट्रक्चर है, ये आगे मूव कर रहा है. अब ये वाला पैर आगे मूव करके यहाँ पे कहीं रखेगा, अब ये पैर और ग्राउंड के बीच का मोशन 0 हो जाएगा, रिलेटिव मोशन 0 हो जाएगा, और फिर ये सुपर स्ट्रक्चर, ये जो बॉडी है, ये आगे मूव करेगी. Right? So I'm not talking something which is paradoxical. It may be, it can be possible that an object has acceleration, yet it is at rest with respect to ground, right? ऐसे मेरे को बोलना नहीं चाहिए. It is at rest. The point of contact of the object is at rest with respect to the ground. Okay? Similarly, for the wheel. So for the wheel, it turns out that this point is at rest. And I will prove this later on. Walking वाला तो आपको मालूम है ना, आप तो जब चलते हो तो आपको मालूम है ना, आपका पैर तो रेस्ट पे रहता है. अगर आप जूते के सोल को ब्लैक पेंट में आप पेंट कर दोगे और आप वॉक करोगे, तो जूते का एग्जैक्ट जो नीचे का जो एग्जैक्ट फीचर्स हैं वो जमीन पे इम्प्रिंट हो जाएंगे. विल यू अग्री विद दिस? आई मीन, यू नो, मोस्ट ऑफ द डिटेक्टिव वर्क, यू रिमेंबर वो शर्लॉक होम्स और आर्थर कॉनन डॉयल का जो कैरेक्टर था, वो मैग्नीफाइंग ग्लास निकाल के, जैसे ही डेड बॉडी है, मैग्नीफाइंग ग्लास निकाल के जूता देखने शुरू कर देता. तो जो फुटप्रिंट का कॉन्सेप्ट होता है, ये फुटप्रिंट क्यों आ रहा है भाई? अगर रिलेटिव मोशन हो रहा है तो आप बीच में सब लोग गए हैं, राइट? एवरीबडी हैज बीन देयर ऑन द बीच, आई होप. या मिट्टी में चले हैं, तो जब मिट्टी में चलते हैं, यू नो, किड व्हेन ही इज वॉकिंग in the mud or in the sand, right, they have this tendency to sort of drag their feet along. And if a kid is walking on the sand dragging his or her feet along, right, then you won't have footprints, right? ये footprint क्या चीज है? It is a direct evidence of what I am saying. कि भाई आप चल के पॉइंट ए से पॉइंट बी तो गए, आपका बॉडी मूव किया, लेकिन जब आपका पैर, आपका जो लेग है, आपका फीट है, when it is touching the ground, then it is relative to the ground, it is not moving at all. Otherwise you would not be leaving, you know, neat and clean footprints. अगर आपने, I would highly not recommend, but if you put black paint in your shoe का sole right now, नीचे वाले पार्ट पे, and if you walk around your house, right, you are going to leave perfect footprints because of the fact that your feet will not, or the shoes, the surface of the shoes will not be slipping, will not be sliding on the ground, but they will be always stationary on the ground, right? You never think of it this way, but this is how it operates. अभी आया समझ में जो मैं बोलने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ? What I am trying to say. So this car, although accelerated, we are going to deal with it saying that the friction that we are going to deal with is the static wala case. Okay? So since there is no F applied on the car, that means the acceleration of the car must be due to friction. Okay, acceleration of the car must be due to friction. And we know that since the car is moving along a circular track, this is the radial acceleration. And we also know that this car has some tangential acceleration. So both the radial and the tangential acceleration must be caused by friction. And if they are indeed caused by friction, then this would be the net acceleration, and this net acceleration would be caused by friction. Therefore, the friction of the car on the car, sorry, must be friction on the car must be in this direction. This is the friction of the car. This friction force, मैंने कुछ ज़्यादा ही लंबा एरो बना दिया, but ठीक है. This friction force has a component along the tangential axis, which is responsible for the tangential acceleration of the car. And the same friction force has a component along the radial axis, which is responsible for the radial acceleration of the car, which is really what is causing the circular motion. The tangential acceleration, which is generated by friction, is simply increasing the speed of the car as the car goes round and round. The direction of friction with the direction of motion of the car is very interesting in this case now. This is the direction of motion of the car. Remember, ये तो velocity होएगा because velocity is always tangential. And the angle made by the velocity and the friction is this. So as promised a long time ago, I promised you that I will tell you about friction being not only opposite to the direction of motion, but friction can also be in the direction of motion, and in most cases it is in the direction of motion. However, friction can also be perpendicular to the direction of motion. Now, if this car was moving with a constant speed, if this car was moving with a constant speed along this horizontal circular track, then the tangential acceleration would be absent and there would only be radial acceleration. How would you explain this radial acceleration? Who is creating this radial acceleration? It is friction, which is responsible for this radial acceleration. And in the absence of tangential acceleration, the friction, which is causing the centripetal acceleration, therefore friction is the centripetal force, must be perpendicular to the direction of motion. And in this case, when the tangential acceleration is present, then the direction of friction makes an angle of theta with the direction of motion. Okay. Now this may seem very, very non-intuitive to you because आपके मन में ये आना चाहिए और ये आना बिल्कुल चाहिए कि अरे एक मिनट, जब कार में हम गोल घूमते हैं, जब कार सर्कुलर ट्रैक को नेगोशिएट करती है, वी फील एन आउटवर्ड फोर्स, हमें तो बाहर की तरफ धक्का लगता है, ये तो इनवर्ड फोर्स कहाँ से आ गई इसमें, राइट? दिस शुड बी अ जेन्युइन क्वेरी फ्रॉम योर साइड. And the answer is about inertial and non-inertial frames of reference. So while inside the car, you are a non-inertial observer and you are observing non-inertial forces. You do think that you are experiencing a force outwards, but we are inertial observers standing outside the car, looking at the motion of the car. And if the motion of the car is circular, then without any doubt, without any confusion, we know that the force must be acting towards the center of the circle, right? This force can be anything. It can be mg, it can be a component of mg, it can be a component of normal reaction, it can be a component of friction, it can be a component of tension, it can be a component of multiple forces. Does not matter, but it will be either single or a combination of ग्रेविटेशन फोर्स, नॉर्मल रिएक्शन, फ्रिक्शन, स्ट्रिंग फोर्स, स्प्रिंग फोर्स, एक्सटर्नल एजेंट। वही वही जो 5 चीजें आपको बताई थी जो ऑब्जेक्ट के सराउंडिंग में रहते हैं, वही फोर्सेस सर्कुलर मोशन भी क्रिएट कर सकते हैं। In fact, when you can if you get up from your table and you start to run, and then suddenly you move to your right, okay, then how is friction behaving? It is not as simple as saying नहीं friction तो backward है, वो तो पीछे लग, कभी नहीं बोलना चाहिए। जब आपने दौड़ना शुरू किया, when you start running, you are accelerating forward, friction is acting forward, friction is what is responsible for your acceleration। आप अचानक से राइट टर्न हो गए तो फ्रिक्शन का डायरेक्शन जो आपके ऊपर लगा, दैट इज वेयर, याद है क्वेश्चन हमने किया था, ये एक कार नॉर्थ जा रही है, फिर उसके बाद से इधर जाने लगी, एवरेज एक्सेलरेशन किधर आएगा? एवरेज एक्सेलरेशन इधर आएगा सर। तो जब आप इधर से इधर रन कर रहे हो तो फ्रिक्शन आगे, जब आपने अचानक से टर्न लिया तो यू कैन कंसिडर दिस एज ए पार्ट ऑफ ए सर्कल, friction will be towards the center, provided of course that you are turning with constant speed. If you are not turning with constant speed, if you are slowing down, then friction would be like this. If you are speeding up, then friction would be like this. It is a very complicated thing. It is not as simple as the friction हमेशा पीछे की तरफ लगता है। Okay? So for this car, this black arrow, this lamba wala black arrow that I have drawn, is the direction of friction, is the friction force which is acting on the car, right? Now, unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know, friction has an upper limit. Yeah? And people who don't know this, if you've seen guys riding bikes, you know, these big machines they ride, and सबसे सबसे एक दूसरे से सवाल, ओ तेरी बाइक कितने सीसी की है? तेरी बाइक मेरी 500 सीसी की है। Oh, these guys, when they ride the bike and they are negotiating a curve, okay, and they want to show off, एक ही चीज दिमाग में उनके आता है, क्योंकि दिमाग में ये बात नहीं है जो मैं बताने जा रहा हूँ, एक्सीलरेटर को घुमा दो, देखा जाएगा। Friction has an upper limit, and this upper limit is mu n, and since in this case n is equal to mg, right? The thing is not moving up and down. N is equal to mg. So mu n is equal to mu mg. This is the maximum force of friction that can be applied. इससे ज्यादा friction possible ही नहीं। तो अगर मैं ये मान के चलूं कि केवल यूनिफॉर्म सर्कुलर मोशन हो रहा है, तो म्यू एम जी इक्वल टू एम वी स्क्वायर बाय आर, ये अपर लिमिट ऑफ वेलोसिटी है, इससे ज्यादा वेलोसिटी पॉसिबल ही नहीं। एम और एन कैंसिल हो जाएगा, वी मैक्स की वैल्यू आ गई रूट ऑफ म्यू जी आर। You cannot have a vehicle negotiating a turn of radius r with a velocity which is greater than this. Why is this? Simple reason. The reason is that the friction has a maximum value, and therefore this acceleration can have this, or this acceleration can have this maximum value. So the ratio of v square and r is fixed or has an upper limit. अब जो बाइक चला रहा है, जिसको ये बात नहीं मालूम है, वो इस लिमिट पे पहुंचा और उसने बोला ओ अभी तो आई कैन बिकम मोर कूल बाय गोइंग मोर फास्ट, और उसने एक्सीलरेटर को घुमा दिया, तो वेलोसिटी तो बढ़ गई, स्पीड बढ़ गई। लेकिन अगर स्पीड बढ़ गई और ये रेशियो तो कांस्टेंट रहना ही, अब ये रेशियो इससे ज्यादा नहीं हो सकता, तो अगर स्पीड बढ़ गई तो क्या होएगा? अगर मैंने ये v max से भी ज्यादा स्पीड कर दी तो क्या होएगा? What should happen? Then I'm asking you a mathematical question. v square by r एक रेशियो है, ये कांस्टेंट है, अब अगर मैंने इसके न्यूमरेटर को इंक्रीज कर दिया तो डिनोमिनेटर में क्या होना चाहिए? व्हाट शुड हैपन? डिनोमिनेटर में क्या होना चाहिए? व्हाट शुड हैपन इन द डिनोमिनेटर? Yeah, it should increase. Now the guy who is riding the bike, he does not know that. And yes, exactly, you know, the bike the bike will go to a circle of greater radius. Okay, the bike will move to a circular track of greater radius, and of course that means the bike has to move sideways. And the moment the bike moves sideways, that's it, end of story for that guy. उसका जो स्टाइल दिखाने का जो था वो खत्म हो गया. Right, so friction has an upper limit, and a circular motion which is caused by friction must also have its upper limit. Beyond that limit, slipping will occur. This is what I described as slipping, right? So in this case, in the case of the question, we have a radial is equal to v square by r. We know this. And we also know that since u is equal to 0 and acceleration is equal to a, therefore v must be equal to at. So this must be equal to a square t square by r. And a tangential is directly given as is equal to a, right? And we know that maximum acceleration possible, because this is happening due to friction, maximum acceleration possible must be equal to mu g. Superman wala question. Superman cannot run with an acceleration greater than this. कितनी भी ताकत हो उसके पास. So this means that a net must be equal to mu g. या दोनों तरफ m ऐड कर दें तो फोर्सेस की उससे आ जाएगा. So mu g is equal to under root of a square t square by r whole square plus a square. Right? So this means that the time in which the slipping will start will be mu square g square minus a square mu square g square minus a square into r square whole raised to the power 1 by 4 whole divided by आया समझ में सबको? ये मैं काफी देर बकबक करते रहा. आई होप किसी को नींद नहीं आई. शिवेन, ओके, क्या नींद आई क्या तेरे को? यही बोल रहा है ना शिवेन? यस सर. नहीं समझ में आया कुछ भी? नहीं सर बोल रहा. एक मिनट रुक जा, एक मिनट, एक मिनट लगा रहा हूँ मैं. लास्ट टाइम लगा रहा हूँ. लेट मी गिव द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. ओके, मजाक कर रहा हूँ शिवेन. कौन सा? Okay, so please try the next question. I hope you'll be able to do this now. So lead is kept on a rod as shown. At t is equal to 0, the system begins to rotate with angular acceleration alpha. If coefficient of friction is mu, find the time when slipping occurs. No gravity is there. It is happening in gravity free space. हाँ, कौन सा स्लाइड देखना है भाई? आर्यन कौन सा स्लाइड देखना है तेरे को? ये सब लोग स्क्रीनशॉट ले लो भाई इसका. आई विल चेंज द स्लाइड. टेक अ स्क्रीनशॉट. रूट में क्या है समझ में नहीं आ रहा। म्यू कहाँ गया सोना? नहीं भाई यहीं भेज दे पार्थ। इतना कॉम्प्लिकेटेड नहीं है इसका आंसर। हाँ सही। हाँ बिल्कुल सही सही बस। क्या हो भाई बाकी लोग को? रेडियल एक्सिस, टेंजेंशियल एक्सिस, थर्ड एक्सिस, हालांकि थर्ड एक्सिस में रोल है नहीं। अब कौन सी फोर्सेस एक्ट कर रही हैं इसके ऊपर? फ्रिक्शन मस्ट बी पैरेलल टू द इंटरैक्टिंग surfaces, therefore friction must be here. So it is the friction which is the centripetal force. But this guy has a tangential acceleration. This guy has a tangential acceleration. So there must be a force in this direction as well. Right? ये आ रहा है समझ में जो मैं बोल रहा हूँ? बीड और जो रॉड है वो उनका जो इंटरैक्शन है उसके सरफेसेस के पैरेलल जो फोर्स होगी that will be friction, and that must be responsible for the circular motion because the parallel force is radial. Therefore the tangential force must be -1 तो नहीं आएगा फिर. Therefore the tangential force must be due to the normal reaction. Gravity तो है नहीं इसके पास, तो ऐसा नहीं है कि नॉर्मल रिएक्शन ऊपर रहेगा. नो. So because gravity is not there, normal reaction can actually go anywhere. In this case, normal reaction becomes a tangential force, N. So N in the tangential direction, N is equal to M into R alpha. यहाँ पे हमें R की वैल्यू दी हुई है. अरे -1 नहीं आएगा, हमको यहाँ पे R की वैल्यू L दिया हुआ है. And mu N Okay, I'm doing mu n because I want the boundary, I want the slipping to start. Mu n is equal to mr into omega square, which will be alpha t square. Since initial omega is equal to 0, alpha is equal to alpha, omega f must be equal to alpha t. So if I just place the value of n here, that's it, the question is over. Mu ml is equal to ml alpha square t square. Ml cancels out and we get t is equal to root of mu by ये क्वेश्चन आईआईटी में आया था. दिस इज फर्स्ट आईआईटी वाला. ओके, आया समझ में ये. जस्ट डोंट हैव एनी सॉर्ट ऑफ दिमाग में ना पहले से कि नहीं ये फोर्स तो यहीं रहती है, ये फोर्स रेडियल होती है, ये टेंजेंशियल होती है. जस्ट डोंट हैव एनी प्री कंसेप्शंस ऑन दिस. नहीं, मैं तो ये सोच के चल रहा हूँ. अकॉर्डिंग टू द प्रॉब्लम एडजस्ट. I will change the slide now. Okay. Question number 4. So there is a circular horizontal track, right, which has a which has a which has this kind of boundary, side boundary. So here we keep an object like this, and I give it a velocity v0. So for the circular track, coefficient of friction between block and vertical side walls mu, radius is r, the floor is frictionless if initial velocity is v naught, find v as a function of it. Find velocity as a function of time. मास m दिया हुआ है ब्लॉक का. नहीं शिवेन आंसर में हाँ, एक मिनट एक मुझे देखने दो। यू क्या है? म्यू आर वी। हाँ तो इसमें जो आर वी प्लस टी किया है ना ये गड़बड़ है, क्योंकि आर वी का जो यूनिट्स हो जाएंगे वो हो जाएंगे मीटर स्क्वायर पर सेकेंड, और टी का यूनिट सेकेंड है, तो यू कैनॉट ऐड मीटर स्क्वायर पर सेकेंड टू सेकेंड, राइट? सम मिस्टेक यू हैव मेड। नहीं हाँ ये सही लग रहा है फिर। स्क्वायर आ रहा है क्या बेटा अनीश? देखो रेडियल tangential third forces mg irrelevant n irrelevant, but this time there is an n here. Let me call this n dash. And there will be a mu n here. Just to be clear, this is the radial axis, this is the tangential axis, and this is the third axis. So along the radial axis, I will get n is equal to mv square by r, and along the tangential axis, I will get mu n is equal to m into dv by dt. This, of course, means that mu into n, which is mv square by r, is equal to m into dv by dt. There should be a minus sign here, right? You have to be careful with this. Minus sign is there because friction is, in this case, opposing the velocity, and therefore as time goes on the object will slow down and then stop eventually. So m cancels out and we get this. I can rewrite this as dv upon v square, dv upon v square is equal to minus mu dt by r, and I can integrate this from v0 to v, 0 to t. Integration of this is minus 1 over v0 to v is equal to minus mu t. Right? So when you put in the limits, you are going to get 1 over v is equal to 1 over v0 minus mu t. ठीक है, इसमें नेगेटिव नहीं आएगा, क्या बोल रहा है? इसमें नेगेटिव नहीं आएगा, कहाँ गलत किया मैंने?
वो 1/v माइनस 1/v नॉट इक्वल टू म्यू टी बाय आर हो जाएगा ना?
क्या 1/?
1/v माइनस 1/v नॉट इज इक्वल्स टू म्यू टी बाय प्लस म्यू टी बाय।
नहीं बे, जब तू उसमें लिमिट डालेगा तो -1/v प्लस 1/v नॉट आएगा ना।
फिर ऊपर वाला माइनस नीचे वाला होता है।
हाँ,
सर ऊपर वाला डाल के माइनस नीचे वाला डाल के होता है ना, मतलब फंक्शन
डाल के माइनस, हाँ तो तभी तो प्लस हो जाएगा ना बे।
सर। तो 1/p माइनस 1/v नॉट आएगा ना, मतलब
-1/v प्लस 1/v नॉट आएगा। क्या हो गया है?
सर आप ये कैंसिल क्यों नहीं कर सकते डायरेक्टली, ये माइनस और ये माइनस?
कौन सा कैंसिल कर दूंगा?
सर ये जो नीचे बॉटम लेफ्ट में जो इक्वेशन
कैंसिल कर दे, तब भी आंसर यही आएगा।
सर
नहीं नहीं, कैंसिल नहीं कर सकते हैं, कैंसिल मत करना।
सर बट अच्छा ठीक है।
देख यहाँ पे जो मुझे समझ में आ रहा है, मैं ये भी इसमें डालूंगा, -1/v आएगा, -1/v नॉट आएगा।
हाँ सर सॉरी, मैंने माइनस कैंसिल करके किया था तो शायद उससे हो गया था। ओके।
हाँ, एक
सर प्लस ही आएगा ना, RHS से LHS में गया वो प्लस हो गया, और 1/v RHS में आया प्लस हो गया, और 1/v नॉट भी प्लस हो गया।
क्या बोल रहा है?
सर
अब पता नहीं
सर वो प्लस ही आएगा।
हाँ सर।
सर 1/v राइट हैंड साइड में जाएगा, एंड इधर 1/v नॉट प्लस में ही है, एंड ut बाई आर इधर आएगा, म्यू टी बाई आर इधर आएगा, तो वो भी प्लस हो जाएगा।
ओहो, हाँ हाँ, अब समझ में आया, चमक
सर
गया।
इतनी देर से मतलब
हाँ हाँ, चमक गया चमक गया। हाँ सही है। चलो ठीक है, so let's stop here. In the next class, I will talk about pseudo forces. Okay, and if there is any doubt remaining with this, we can discuss more questions on non-uniform circular motion. And vertical circle work energy में आएगा, तो यहाँ नहीं आता। Vertical circle will not be discussing here. We'll discuss when we do work energy, which is in any case after a couple of classes. Anyway, we'll be starting work energy. ठीक है, चलो okay, then I will go there. कैसे जाना है पहले?